We're going to go ahead and get started now. So if everyone could please grab a seat. Okay, so to start off, a quick introduction about myself. My name is Tariq Shahada, and I am a senior currently at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign in central Illinois. Right now I am studying civil engineering with a primary focus in transportation engineering and then a secondary focus in construction engineering. Now, originally I'm not from Urbana-Champaign. I'm actually from Rockford, Illinois, and so that's a little further north in Illinois, just west of Chicago. And just like every other engineer, I have other interests, which include writing, recording, and performing music. In high school, I was thinking more about being a rock star than being an engineer, but times change, and here I am now. In addition to that, I enjoy traveling, and I've gotten to go all over the world. I was fortunate enough to have a family who was very encouraging of exploring cultures and getting around, and I also had some really cool opportunities to do that, so that was great. In addition to that, this is a little bit of a vague term, but I enjoy conversation, and what that means is I enjoy creating new relationships, but even more than that, I enjoy investing in relationships that I have with folks around me and getting to know people and things like that. So this summer, I had the opportunity to intern with the company CH2M Hill, which is a very large company. I think about 26,000 employees now, international, all over the globe, over 100 offices in the U.S. and scores elsewhere. And so this summer I got to work with them in Chicago, and so my title for the summer period, I was a transportation intern, and naturally I was in the market of transportation. And like I said, I was in the Chicago, Illinois office, or I should say one of the Chicago, Illinois offices. In fact, they have three, and my office was particularly close to O'Hare Airport. And conveniently, since I was so close, I was working on the Elgin O'Hare Western Access Corridor project, which I'll tell you more about shortly. So the Elgin O'Hare Western Access Project is a very large $3.4 billion project, which is funded primarily by the Illinois Tollway, with some support from Illinois Department of Transportation as well. Financial support, that is, of course. IDOT was working very closely on all aspects of the project. So this project is, again, it's a very big project. It offers transportation solutions for a 127 square mile area, servicing thousands and thousands of Chicago residents and dozens of Chicago companies and users of the expressway. And so the boundaries of the project, roughly speaking, are I-90 West on the north end, and then O'Hare on the east, 294 on the south, kind of, and then the highway continues west until the current bounds of the Elgin O'Hare Expressway, which are I want to say about 13 miles west of where O'Hare is. And so this expressway, this project includes approximately 15 miles of new tollway and freeway, and then 42 miles of improvements to currently existing highways in the area. And so here's a map of the project that describes the general bounds of the area. There you see O'Hare on the east, and then 90 on the north end, like I mentioned, and you can't see it well, but 294 would be in the southeast, and then the expressway continues to the west end of this map here. And within this larger project, there were dozens of different contracts working on different specific locations. And so the contract that I was working on specific was the 4607 IDOT contract. And the reason it has IDOT tagged at the end there is because it was the one contract which had IDOT working most closely and funding this specific piece of roadway. And so here's a zoomed up look at where the contract was taking place. And so this contract, I should say, contained three individual ramps, really two, and then one branching off into a third. And so the first one was coming down from 290 South, which you see coming from the top of the picture here, coming from 290 South, and then crossing over 390 East, as well as over 290 again, and crossing over to connect to Thorndale eastbound on the right end of the circle here. And then in addition to that, from 290 north on the lower side of the circle, moving upwards and to the right, connecting onto Thorndale as well. And the third ramp actually was branching off of the first ramp that I mentioned, connecting into the neighborhood where the neighborhood is right now, which is going to be changed quite a bit from the way it is that you see in this picture. And so some quick facts about my internship that I was working this summer. So my internship included a great deal of learning and, of course, of working, and then of collaborating as well. So I was able to gain a great deal of knowledge daily, working on some tough tasks for this exciting and challenging project. Naturally, I was working, and I got to get involved with some cool aspects of the project and really get my hands into it and get productive and feel like an asset to the office. And then I was collaborating with many of the different folks in the office, from junior engineers nearby who had been working in the office for just a couple of years to senior engineers who are masters in their field. And so I was able to get a huge variety of experience and interact with a bunch of very talented people. And then my main responsibilities included quantity takeoff, part of the estimation process, as well as CAD drawing revision, and then contract preparation. And for the sake of time, I'm only going to cover quantity takeoff and CAD drawing revision today. So the first of those two is quantity takeoff. Now, quantity takeoff is a very important process for the estimation, and so it's part of estimation, which is a part of an even larger scale process. We call PS&E, which stands for plans, specifications, and estimations. And so what quantity takeoff really is, in essence, is creating a project shopping list, basically, for whatever project that you're working on. And so you go through your drawings, you go through all of your plans and specifications, trying to figure out what it's going to take to not just build it and construct it, but to manage it and maintain the surroundings as you're building it. And so includes all sorts of things, from a pylon that you see on the road to feet of paint on the ground to cubic yards of dirt and things. And so you're really quantifying the various pay items that you're using in construction and other processes. And as you can imagine, with so many different types of items being counted, there are many different methods that are used to quantify these. One method in particular, which I'll touch on here, is using roadway shapes. And so this is a process that I thought was particularly cool and kind of enjoyable, a little tedious, over time, but I thought just the process was very clever, and utilized um, some cool technological tools that we have in our computers there. And so we were using MicroStation primarily with the GeoPack add-on. And so this process is used primarily for counting things like square yards of PCC pavement, for example, or cubic yards of subgrade aggregate improvement, things like that. And so, anyways, say we're counting square yards of PCC pavement. So what we would do is we would take the line drawings that we have on MicroStation, and we would highlight the boundaries of the PCC pavement in the roadway segment, and we would use the MicroStation tool to create a region contained within those lines. And so, as you see in the picture here, the green section there highlighted is a region that was created. And so, instead of using sort of just basic calculations and plugging and chugging a calculator to find estimated area of PCC pavement, what we do is we take that highlighted region and we use one of the measurement tools on MicroStation, and we select the region, and it will immediately tell us the exact area of PCC pavement, or the exact area of the region which we know to be the area of the PCC pavement, and so we can use that number to for the quantity takeoff. And in addition to that, since we're using GeoPack, we can use that to find some more details for our quantity sheets, such as the station and offset of the various quantities relative to the alignment. And so, like I said, I was also doing some CAD drawing revision, which was a lot of fun. And a large part of the process that I was a part of included preparing project drawings for submittal. Now, of course, submittal is where you take the design drawings that you have for whatever submittal that you're going for. We were going for the 95% complete design at the time that I was there, and you prepare those to give to your contractors. And so these drawings need to convey large amounts of information while minimizing confusion. And that can be a delicate balance. There's so much that can be conveyed in one drawing. Using the tools on MicroStation, you can really just say so much with one 17 by 11 sheet, but they can get very crowded and confusing and difficult to read. So you want to create these drawings where they can say a lot, but they're easy to understand, and they can everybody can see them and retrieve the same facts from each one. And so this takes a lot of revising of the drawings according to client as well as legal standards. And so we had to maintain some very tight standards for some of our drawings for the contract. And so one method that we would do these revisions is through using markups, which is a pretty general term, but I'll get into some of the details about it. So before our submittal, we would take the drawings that we would create, such as a typical section drawing that you see in the picture above, and we would print them out. And once we had completed to whatever tasks that we were working on in the preparation, we'd print them out and look over them. And if we thought that they were looking all right, we would send them up the line to one of our project engineers, who would look at the drawings and find everything wrong with them, and find everything that they didn't particularly like or thought were confusing, or things that maybe they caught that had been changed, but haven't, those changes maybe haven't been reflected in the drawing, different things like that, various comments, questions, and different prompts for further revision. And so we would get these drawings back, all marked up, as you can see, with different colors of pens and pencils, with the different colors representing. Um, the commands were color coded, and so red would be an addition, um, green would be a deletion, and blue would be a general comment. And so sometimes those colors would get mixed up. As you can see, there's a comment in red, and so we were a little bit loose with that, as long as the ideas were understood. And then there was also color coding with highlighting, and so we would highlight the various comments that we went over and the different markings that we went over to make sure that everything was covered and everything was taken care of. And so we would do this to complete drawing changes and to revise information in the different drawings and to just prepare them for the final submittal that we would send out. So in review, my internship really included some very vast and diverse learning. As you could see, I was involved with a bunch of different things, and really that only accounts for just maybe a little over half of what I was doing. There were so many days where I'd be working on little things here and there regarding railroad right-of-way, for example, or out visiting a project site, or working on some design plans for some other contracts and things. So I was really able to get so many different experiences and learn a lot. And of course, these experiences were invaluable, and I gained a lot of very helpful and exciting connections with different engineers in the business, and various professionals just involved in the whole process. And so that was really exciting, and really the word is invaluable. And another thing that I thought was very enjoyable and exciting about this summer was I felt a lot of growth. I felt like I grew from a student, who just signing on to an internship for the sake of getting that on my resume or something like that. I turned from that into really an asset for the company and for the office, and that was really exciting. And I felt like I was doing some things right, and I was doing a good job, which was invaluable as well. And really, during that summer, I was able to be prepared to leverage my next 3 semesters here at the University of Illinois for further development. And so I know what kind of classes I want to take. I know how I want to take the classes, and I know how to maintain a good, relevant work ethic during those classes. And so again, my name is Tariq Shahad, and I've got my contact information here in the slide for those who are interested. And so from there, I will ask, are there any questions? Yes.
So what is the estimated completion date of the project you were involved with?
That's a good question. And at this point, it's really going to be completed over a long period of time. And like I mentioned, there are really dozens of contracts along the project. And so these are going to be completed at different times. And so there are going to be some segments that are going to be open for use within a couple of years, but hopefully all will be all roadway will be available, I think, by the end of 2017 or somewhere in 2018. But that's a little bit variable at this point. Any other questions?
So what do you plan to do with your civil engineering career? Do you have any goals or things you're particularly interested in?
Yeah, definitely. And a little bit ironically, I'm going to be moving in a slightly different direction from the work that I was doing this past summer. And so I obviously was working on the highway primarily, but I've had some changes in my interest and some exploration that I've been doing, and I'm thinking that I might potentially want to go into railroad engineering, actually. So just a different segment of the transportation industry. Um, and so I'm currently working on what that'll look like, and how that'll turn out. But I'm very excited. I would like to potentially work for one of the large Class 1 railroads in the U.S. or elsewhere in North America, and so I'll see what kind of opportunities come up, and where my interests and where my next couple of semesters take me. Um, but yeah, short-term goal, working with a railroad or something similar to that. Long-term goal, well, I guess we'll just focus on the short-term goals first, and we'll see about those. And well, with that, if there aren't any other questions, I think I'm going to go ahead and conclude my presentation. Thank you so much to everyone who is listening, and yeah, I hope you have a wonderful day, and yeah, thank you again.